So I'm Samuel Keret, and I joined Waze on the first day. It was early in 2008. And the one thing that, among many things that I love about Waze is that our focus from day one until today is the same one. The focus on how do we get drivers faster on their commute in the morning, in the afternoon. How do we create a community of drivers sharing information in order to pass the traffic and the obstacles on their way? And it was a good vision in the beginning, and today it was commonly used. And if you think about it, there are a few revolutions that we did. One of them is the way that we create a map. So I'm not sure if everybody knows, but the map you see in Mexico City, in Mexico, is all user-generated. It's like the Wikipedia of maps. When we started, everybody said it's not possible to do. And we clearly showed that it's something that we can do. So the map is self-generated by a community of about 300,000 community members that are sharing their information, working day and night in order to do that. And the data in the map is updated every day. So every day you open Waze, you get a new set of data that you see. On top of that, of course, we have the fact that the whole notion of the application is for commuters. Think about 2008, you had GPS, you used it only when you didn't know where you're going to. I know many of my friends told me, why do I need it? I driving to my work 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, I know all the roads possible, I don't need Waze. Today, they tell me they cannot wake up and go to the grocery store next to their house without Waze. And the idea is to create the right value and to bring the right data in real time, and on top of that, giving the right UI, the right service to enable that. And I cannot do the presentation without thanking our 300,000 community members, mappers, all volunteers, day and night, working and helping everybody to get the maps right. And then the question comes, okay, what is next? Where are you heading? What's going to happen with Waze? In order to tell the story, let's start with a little background about two very important words, and that's the evolution and revolution. This is the TV. You're all familiar. It exists over 100 years. And you think about TV in the last 100 years, it didn't change too much. So it got thinner, lighter, HD, better colors, but the whole experience of how you use TV, you sit in the living room, you watch broadcast TV, maybe on demand, and it's a very, very similar progress that happened in the last 100 years, which is all about evolution that happened in this area. And we talk about evolution versus revolution, it's more about changing from how things are made to how things are used. So, for example, this is one way that you most likely going to watch TV, and I'm not sure the term going to be watch TV will be, but you're not going to sit in your living room, you're going to wear something on yourself, and you're going to walk in the football game or in the stars and do whatever you want, but it's all going to change, and your kids will ask you, seriously? You sat on a couch in the living room and watched something on like 2D? No, that's crazy. And this is when your kids don't understand you, that's when you do a revolution, okay? Because we can understand our parents watching TV, maybe black and white, maybe a little bit wider, but still same experience. And this is where we are actually heading. And in this crazy world that we are living in, there's tons of startups and technology companies evolving materials and chips and many, many things, but eventually it ends up for us as consumers in revolution, I would say in 3 areas. And those 3 are communication. All of us have right now smartphones in our pocket, always connected. Data is very, very cheap. That's crazy. Having a computer in your pocket, getting services is a huge thing that happened. And the revolution in communication, I'm not going to spend too much time on that, I can spend 2 days only about communication, is the fact that the revolution happened and it changed everything. It's not just the phone changed from a landline phone to mobile phone, the entire industry changed. We have companies like Google and Apple and Facebook that exist more than Google is like 15, 16 years old. Facebook is even about 10. It's a crazy world that everything evolved and changed. So this is one revolution. And again, I'm not going to spend too much on that, which I love to. Transportation, that I'm, of course, going to cover in the next 15 minutes. And the third one, by the way, that we are only in the first stage of healthcare. I know nothing about it. I just hear other smart people telling the story. I'm fascinated with the possibilities. If communication, we are right now in the middle of the revolution. Transportation, we're starting the revolution right now. Healthcare, I think we're going to start in about 10, 15 years. And, you know, we're going to have nano robots in our blood fixing stuff. We're going to be born with DNA already organized and fixed. I'm just repeating other people's stories. I don't know anything about it. But it's really, really fascinating to hear this vision. And I'm not sure about living to the age of 300. Maybe it's good. But let's go back to transportation. And no, this is not going to happen soon. Forget about it. I'm sorry. But our kids, or I don't know, let's say 20 years from now, will come to us and tell us that we are insane. Thank you. One saint in the room. They're all committed to say insane together, but God, I can't trust you. And seriously, we are really insane. We are insane because every year, 1.3 million people die in car accidents. If there would be a war right now and 10,000 people would die, it would be all over the news. Maybe, hopefully. 1.3 million die every year, and we're okay with it. It's fine. It's cool. I mean, it's fine. I mean, we need to drive. It's okay. It's unbearable. 5%. That's how much we use our car in a day. So we buy our second expensive asset, the car, and we use it 5% of the time, which is also not very, your financial advisor would not advise you to do that. 1/5. Any clue? How many seats do you use in your car? So you buy a car, usually with 5 seats, but you sit only in one. And, you know, I don't think that anybody, I mean, many people here are buying an apartment of 10 rooms and use only 2. You buy what you need. Of course, nobody said you small cars today with less than, I mean, most of them are not less than 5 seats. And that's something also makes no sense. And 50% of the infrastructure of Mexico City, of every city, belongs to the car, not for us. So roads, parking. And these numbers are really insane if you think about it. And going back to the evolution versus revolution, if we're going to continue with the evolution, listen, we are having more and more cars on the road. There's no way to build enough roads. At some point, we're going to hit the wall, literally, and get nowhere. There are jokes, you know, I'm coming from Israel, that the trip from, there's a very traditional trip from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. It's like the main 2 cities, which the average speed with a horse and carriage, there was like about 15 kilometers per hour. Going at 8 a.m. from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem takes the same time today. So very limited evolution in these years. And we really need to make the revolution, and the revolution is already coming. And the interesting thing about the revolution is that there is an agreement where it's going to end, how it's going to look, but, oh, see, okay, hang on. Thank you. And there are 3 different screens here, so I need to sync between them. And the idea is, we all know how it's going to end, or there isn't an agreement in the industry how it's going to end, but we don't know the way, and we don't know how much it's going to take, how long it's going to take. By the way, it's the opposite than the communication revolution that happened. Nobody had a clue. Everything was a mystery. Everything happened literally by mistake, and it still do. In transportation, it's really, really different. Kids born today who will not drive. There is no reason in the world they will not drive. We're going to have resorts for people, for human beings that like to drive. for very special ones that we are like this crazy hobby of getting into a 3-ton metal stuff and push something and moving. I mean, what's the point? It's really a huge change in the market, and it's coming from starting today with car sharing, carpool, that Waze is heavily involved, and we launched a service in Israel and Bay Area, expanding next year to all US, Mexico, and Brazil. So you see how important Mexico is for us. And thank you. You got so many points today. And the idea in all these revolutions in the first stages are going into one point, and that's cost per kilometer. Eventually, it's all about cost per kilometer, and once we get below a certain threshold, everything changes. So today, if I'm driving, or I'm taking a taxi, or I'm taking an Uber, doesn't matter. Eventually, someone is driving the car. There's a driver in the car. This is his profession, and the cost is very, very high. I mean, there's a thing that I will do, but some places I will not go because it's too expensive. Something, the delivery is too expensive. I will not do some stuff. And the whole industry are very, very focused on how do you get the cost down. And this is one of the things that, for example, carpool is doing. If you're already driving from A to B, and you're going to drive from A to B because you need to go to work, and I'm getting into your car 2 more passengers, and the cost is the same, that's a revolution in the industry. So I'm not getting someone, instead of driving here, to drive there. You're driving anywhere, and the cost is fixed, and now instead of having 1 person in the car, we have 3 people in the car, maybe 1 less car on the road, because one of the 3 guys already not using. And by the way, pilot in Israel, we have dozens of testimonials of people that actually gave up on the 2nd car in the family because they're using Waze carpool. So that's how it's starting to change the market. So you're asking where's the revolution is, what's going to happen to us? It's going to take a while, and it's going to take a while for all kind of reasons that happening because of legal issue, insurance, technology, our acceptance of changes. I'm not sure if everybody heard about, but there are in the autonomous vehicles levels, level 1 up to 5. So without going into too many details, most of you have today at least level 1. So you have cruise control. Wow, crazy, huh? That's level 1. Level 5 is when you get a car, you say, get me to X, and you get there without touching anything, without even looking at the road. And we are now today seeing on the market level 3 and 4, where the driver is involved a bit in the driving, or you have very specific routes. So you can have buses in campus, in universities, going in a fixed route. That happens today. But going from environment that you go in the car and it can get you anywhere, from 4 to 5, it's something like 10 years down the road. That's a huge, huge change. And this is one thing. Technology, in a way, getting there. We are very close. But the last 3% will take 10 years to get. And this is a very challenging thing. Another thing that happens, and another challenge that we have, is it's not only that the roads will become smart, the whole city will become smart. You will hear soon, or hearing already, terms like V2V, V2I. Never heard it, it's fine. V2V is vehicle to vehicle. So today, level 4, level 5 cars are very smart. They have tons of sensors in the car. Great. But why not allow car to speak to another car? So you have 2 cars. I don't need only to sense where the other car can tell me, hey, this driver is about, I'm planning to hit a brake. I want to make awareness of the car behind me of that. Or I'm behind the curve. I want to tell the other cars what's happening. So that's something about V2V, of course requires standards. V2I, vehicle to infrastructure. So you are driving here, and you want to turn right, and there's a Can I say it again? 1, 2, 3, okay? And you want to cross the street, you want to turn right, and you have a sensor telling you if someone is walking right here. Now you don't see it, but the car will be aware before you turn about this happening. So vehicle to infrastructure is something that's going to happen. It's going to take a long time because you need standards. You need all the infrastructure and municipalities to agree on a standard. These things takes years and years and years. The moral dilemma is very interesting. So you guys, you're now driving the car. This truck crashed in front of you. There's a kid on the left, old person on the right. You need to make a decision. Do you crash in the car and commit suicide? Kill the old man because anyway he's going to be dead in a few years? Or kill the boy because he's so careless and playing with the ball in the street? And guys, we are making these decisions every day, and that's fine. This is how 1.3 million people die every year, right? However, in autonomous vehicle, we are actually telling a software programmer in the office in the Bay Area or Tel Aviv to write code and decide who's going to die. Scary thought. Actually, maybe makes more sense. And there are so many examples about you have two motorcycles, right on the right and the left. One with a helmet, one without a helmet. Who do you kill? But I mean, do you punish the one who's safe and wear a helmet? I mean, these are all kind of things that are going to happen, and this thing that takes time to accept. Okay? By the way, in Germany, there's now a new legislation about splitting the responsibility between the driver and the car manufacturer. So when you drive, if you're touching the wheel, you are responsible. If you're not touching the wheel, the car manufacturer is the liability of any damage that happens, which is a very nice way to solve some of the issues. Roads are changing. Who needs traffic lights? Traffic lights are for humans. Autonomous cars with V2V, no traffic lights. The best example is your blood cells. No, there's no traffic light for the blood cell in your body. They know how to go, and we are going to be in a similar situation. Real estate. What the hell are we going to do with so much free real estate? All the parking. Wow, amusement parks and so much fun we're going to have on the roads. You change. And again, I'm sorry, I'm running very fast. Each one of these slides, we can spend 10 minutes at least on that. Employment. So many jobs will disappear. Drivers, for example. Delivery. On the other hand, don't get too scary because there are going to be many new jobs. Think about all the new services. The fact that you now have, like, in your commute, 30 minutes, 1 hour, and you have free time, to read, to play games, to communicate, to do whatever you want. And it's really, really hard to imagine how the world will look like. And because nobody expected that Airbnb will happen 10 years ago, Facebook, WhatsApp, Snapchat, and whatever is being developed right now, and we are way too old even to understand what they're doing. I saw the news article about WhatsApp doing something similar to Snapchat to compete, and literally I didn't understand what they're doing. Not Snapchat and not WhatsApp, but that's fine. There is a very nice slogan from Carl Sagan, which is a philosopher, about that when mass cars was launched about 80 years ago, everybody thought about, wow, it's so great, everybody will own a car. Nobody expect Walmart. Nobody expected a thing like a big retail will evolve. These big retail chains that exist today, we cannot see our life without them, cannot exist without the cars. Okay? These changes will happen also here, and we can each one of you can dream what's going to happen. We don't know. If you're really sure what's going to happen, start investing in startups and do stuff to get some money in the future. One of the rooms that might disappear in the future is the kitchen. Okay? There's the Internet of, if you go back to communication, Internet of Things, right? And we say, I want my refrigerator to tell me if I don't have enough milk, and I will buy the milk that I'm missing now. And I'm saying, why do you need to tell me? I want to every time to have in the kitchen a certain amount of, just make that it exists. And when I talk about cost per kilometer, about delivery, let's assume that it's almost zero, the cost. And let's assume that I can get to your house from any restaurant or any special design new business that is built for this service, anything you want to eat and drink in 11 minutes. And we love to say 11 in Waze. If you don't know, BBC, Scotland, check, elevator, speech recognition. If I can get your food to your house in 11 minutes, it makes so much sense than having a kitchen in the house. You are buying food that anyway you know you're going to throw about 50%. You are not a chef, so you do decent pasta bolognese, but you're not as good as the chef in the restaurant 11 minutes away from you. And if you can get assurance that you think about, not even right, you think about the food, and it gets to you, to your family, to your kids in 11 minutes, you don't need to waste money, and you don't need to waste a room for the space for the kitchen. And this is just one example. So what's next? I have no clue. I think one of the nice things that I drew up this slide, but I forgot his name. A former CEO of IBM said in 1943, the world will need only 5 computers. And for many years, it was considered like a joke, the big miss of how they didn't understand the market of computers. Eventually, he was right. Eventually, there are going to be actually 4 computers. It's going to be Google, Amazon, IBM, and we'll see. Everybody using the cloud. So we don't know how to foresee the future. I can tell you that the transportation is in the first stages of the revolution. It's going to be really, really exciting. And drive as much as you can because it's not going to last. So guys, thank you very much.